People die. It's not just sick people who die. It's not just old people who die. Healthy people die as well.
Yes.
It always fascinated me that there's something beyond just health. What's the point of position and money when, you can fly first class to New York on a business trip, but you can't even be comfortable because you have back pain? I'll tell you what was the best part of my year, not the magazine. I got introduced to a 95-year-old man, 95, drink in his hand.
Wow.
And I said, this is who I want to be, and this is who we can all be. I asked him, what's your secret? That's the first thing I wanted to know. He said, I listen to you, we do this, and I also do mudras. So I said, wow.
Mudras.
Now teach it. Till date, my best mentors are my patients because I get to learn from them. And what I get to learn from them, I'm able to improvise with my next patients. When I started off, I didn't look at competition. It wasn't about like, oh, I need to do a social media post, see my patient. No, my social media was born out of my experience with my patient.
Hey guys, it's here. Welcome to yet another episode of the Master's Secrets. Today, it's an honor and privilege for me to have with me the one and only Luke Coutinho, who's one of the leading figures in our country, in India, in the health space, in the holistic living and holistic lifestyle space, who's been impacting thousands and thousands of people in this space. And I'm really excited about this interview because I want to understand from him on what does it take to be a mentor, somebody who's a guide to others, so that, he has helped so many people overcome various health challenges over many years. So I want to understand from Luke on what does it take to be a great mentor, what does it take to be a great student, and the kind of impact that Luke has been delivering. And if you've been following him on YouTube and other places, consistently delivering results every single day, every single week, giving people clarity to live a better lifestyle, especially in these times. Luke, welcome to this segment, and it's truly an honor and privilege to be interacting and having a conversation with you.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here, and it's good to be part of what you're doing. I think you're doing amazing work as well. So thank you for bringing more information, more knowledge to so many people. And I'm looking forward to learning from you as well.
Thank you, Luke. This is a very special interview for me personally because I've been watching the way that you have been so consistently delivering value on various social media platforms, and giving clarity to people who are really struggling with various health challenges. So first question is, how did you get started on this journey of holistic health and preventive healthcare, and how is this different from like mainstream health and stuff? Like, how did you get into the journey?
Great. So I had a chance. I started off with nutrition as a subject. Okay. And as I started looking at more complicated diseases, I also took a break in my career. I entered the corporate world because at that point I wanted to travel and work in different corporates across the world. But I always kept studying nutrition on the side, pediatrics, anatomy. It always fascinated me, the human body, because death fascinates me. People die. It's not just sick people who die. It's not just old people who die. Healthy people die as well. It always fascinated me that there's something beyond just health. There's something way beyond it. And today we understand there's spiritual health, there's mental, emotional, physical, and even intellectual health. So I reached a point in my career where I started sharing a lot of my knowledge with people, because when you're in a corporate world, you always aspire to be the next position, which is CEO, which is VP, which is top manager. And I would notice amongst these people that a lot of them were constantly falling sick. One day I heard a very high position in the company saying that, I can't even sit comfortably in a first class seat because my back hurts. And something struck me. What's the point of position and money when, you can fly first class to New York on a business trip, but you can't even be comfortable because you have back pain. That back pain is caused because of your poor lifestyle. You're not losing weight. You're not taking care of your diabetes. And that's when I looked around and I said, what's going on? We have top doctors, nutritionists, personal trainers, nutraceuticals, Ayurveda, alternative medicine, everything. Then how can India be getting sicker and sicker? I started looking around, and all, not just top levels in companies, but even people, family members, moms, dads, children, schools, teachers, people were getting sicker and sicker with lifestyle conditions. This is 10 years ago. And I said, this is not what I want to do. I said, I don't want to just be a nutritionist. Okay, so I had a couple of people in universities across the US who were my mentors, and we were working on several projects across the US at that point. And the MD, managing director, and head doctor at Yale, Dr. David Katz, introduced me to a program called Integrative and Lifestyle Medicine. It was very new. We spoke about it.
Nice.
All of a sudden I figured that I don't want to be treating symptoms. I don't want to be giving just diet plans to people. If I'm giving a diet plan or I'm helping someone with nutrition, it needs to be to treat the root cause of the problem. So I started studying integrative and lifestyle medicine. And then I found that that had its limitations as well. Because while it spoke about looking at the body holistically, teaches you how to diagnose a root cause, address the root cause, again, just allopathy and nutrition couldn't cut it. And that's when I started
Yes.
exploring movement, quality sleep, emotional wellness, and a whole ecosystem. Like today, there's so much more to add to it. There's using laughter, there's using nature, there's using so many things. And when you look back, we're creating what has already been created. It's what nature is. You eat right,
Exactly.
right, sleep right, right time. Try to be happy because that's the physiological state of a human being. So we built this ecosystem over the last 9 years of integrative and lifestyle medicine, and that's what we found gave results. Helping people, not
Excellent.
stopping people from chemotherapy, not stopping people from diabetic medicine, because we're integrative, we're not alternative, but teaching them while you take the medicine, your plan B is to get off it at some point. So you got to change your lifestyle.
Yes.
And that model started to work, and that's what took us globally. And today we have people from all over the world, coming for this approach because they figured it works. And I think the saving grace was also the pandemic, because people realized that where medicine fails, it is the intelligent
Yes.
body, immunity. That word got all of its limelight during the pandemic. And people started waking up and saying, Luke, why haven't doctors ever spoken about immunity before the pandemic? Why didn't they tell us boost your immunity? Because that's the way to prevent illness. So a lot of
Yes.
stuff changed, and in a good way, there's so much more awareness about it. So that's how my journey started. I quit the corporate world with literally nothing. And at that point, just started one patient after another. And here we are today.
Wow, wow. Amazing journey, Luke. And what I love about your journey is like, I mean, you've learned from various schools of thought, because every school would believe that, okay, this is the way to good health, but you have taken ideas from various schools and integrated that and created that. So are you saying like when a patient comes to you, you're able to analyze what they need and you give them like a mix of what works well for them, customized for them? Is that the approach that you take?
Absolutely. So
Mm.
my specialty is integrative medicine and oncology. So we are primarily cancer patients, but we treat diabetes, Alzheimer's, obesity, and everything. So there is
Got it.
always a root cause. And even if that 5%
Mm.
cancer is highly genetic, there is a root cause. What manifested your gene into the cancer? There's always a trigger. That's why epigenetics is successful. So there is always a trigger. Was it excessive stress? Was it your poor sleep deprivation that we know can turn on the wrong genes and turn off the right genes? There is always a
Got it.
trigger. So we diagnose, we accept what treatments they're doing. A massive part of what we do is managing the side effects of the treatment. While chemotherapy is necessary, most people suffer from it because they don't change their lifestyles or do what they need to do to manage the side effects. So for example, the
Yes.
chemotherapy wipes out every class A protein, vitamin, and mineral. So if we're not putting it back into their system through their diet, that's when chemo becomes more harsh for them. And that's where secondary cancers come, because their immune system is so low. While the chemo killed the primary cancer, it's also killed the healthy cells
Yes.
to protect you from the secondary one. So this is what we do. We assess and then we find what is right. So I don't understand homeopathy, but it doesn't mean I don't respect it, because we've seen homeopathy work wonders. So if the patient's open to it
Yes.
and we feel these are our limitations, but homeopathy can make a difference, we discuss it with the patient. And if they're open to it, we put them onto the best homeopaths. It's the same with
Wow.
everything. The other day, I was at a
Mm.
magazine launch in Mumbai, and it was the best part of my year. I'll tell you what was the best part of my year, not the magazine, but that was great. But the best part of my year was I got introduced to a 95-year-old man who came walking up to meet me in a suit, follows me with his sisters, 95, drink in his hand.
Wow.
And I said, this is who I want to be, and this is who we can all be. We don't have to age at 45 and 50 and 60. We have examples around us of people showing us possibility. So you see what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
I asked him, what's your secret? That's the first thing I wanted to know. He said, I listen to you, we do this, and I also do mudras. So I said, wow. So
Mudras.
now
Mm.
teach it. So I said, immediately, I was like, let's exchange numbers with the daughters, because if this can add value to my patients, I want it. Because my system may be
Yes.
good, but it can get better. It can
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
get better by learning from other people. So very soon we will engage these people to help them train our patients on certain mudras that can help. Why not? If it works and it's safe, we want to have it. So this is what we do.
Excellent.
We basically address the root cause of the problem. If someone is getting a hip pain because they're constantly stressed out, they have this, resentment in them. You can keep taking painkillers, but at some point you got to handle the resentment so that the pain actually goes. So we address root causes and we help people manage side effects of their treatments, put them in remission, and help them stay there. So that's what we do.
Amazing, amazing, Luke. Just love the way that you're integrating and improvising the system as and when new ways and new methods evolve in the marketplace. So that's amazing. So now coming to the topic of knowledge itself. Knowledge is an ocean, but I'm sure you've really got some moments with masters that have really basically inspired you in a very powerful way in your topic. So who were your initial mentors and coaches, like when you were transitioning from corporate world into doing this? Like, is there a few of your mentors and coaches who helped you along this journey, and in what way did they impact you to make this like your life mission and your purpose?
Right. So I was very clear about what I wanted to do. I was not confused because it
Okay.
came from deep within. So I was not confused. I didn't ask a single person, because sometimes I don't want opinions of people, because everyone that you ask, they
Mm,
usually have an opinion, and their opinion is
yes.
based on, their childhood, their experience of life, their
True.
education
True.
and stuff. So I'm very careful about that. I'll never have one role model. I'll take a little away from everyone. I don't follow one
Okay.
spiritual path, because that would close
Mm,
me
mm,
to one path, which could be beautiful, but there's
mm.
so much more to learn from different paths. So I had mentors
True.
in all ways of life. A mentor could be my patient. Till date, my best mentors are my patients, because I get to learn from them. And what I get to learn
Yes.
from them, I'm able to improvise with my next patients. So I don't really have a role model, but my mentors, some of them today are billionaires. Some of them are in prison. It doesn't mean that they were not great mentors at that point. I learned the good, the bad, what to do, what not to do. Some of them were
Yes.
sports people, like, I've probably, like a Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. There are many of them. But there's one thing I'll
Yes.
take away from him: persistence. He doesn't care what people think of him. And that's what
True.
everyone needs to know to be a successful coach. Because a lot of coaches start thinking, what's my patient going to think of me? Do I need to say the right words? What do they want to hear? So I've taken something from him. I took something from Whitney Houston. I take things from people all the time and I put it together.
Amazing.
But I don't have
Mm,
one role model. I wouldn't even call my father my role model. While he's
mm,
fantastic, I've taken so much from him. There's so much I can
mm.
take from other parents as well. So I like to keep an
Beautiful.
open mind, because in the space of coaching, we need to understand that we can never think we know it all. Or we can never think
True.
that one person who may be famous, may be rich, may be successful, is
Mm.
the only person who has all the answers, because there are several other
Yes.
people like that person. So I like to keep an
Mm.
open mind and learn, because the fundamentals of what I've learned in integrative medicine and patient health is uniqueness. Every one of
Mm.
my patients are unique. What
Mm.
works for
Mm.
one doesn't have to work for another. And there are a lot of case studies showing how 40 women with the same kind of cancer, same stage, are getting the same
Mm.
cycles of chemo, the same cycles of the same process, but 40 people will have 40 different outcomes. Why? Because they're unique
Wow.
beings. They have different
Mm.
nutrition needs. Some of the chemos may not suit them. Some of them go
Mm.
on it with fear. So
Mm.
knowing and respecting uniqueness, I keep my mind
Mm.
open to learn from anyone and everyone, including the worst people in the world. Because you can always,
Mm.
when I say worst, I don't mean it in a derogatory way, disrespectful
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
You can learn from even their misfortunes. You can even
Mm.
learn
True.
from, like, I've learned from criminals. Like, it's
Mm.
sad that they've done what they've done. But what have I learned?
Mm.
That the human mind that you and I have can
Mm.
be criminal, can be
Yeah.
saintly, can be with
Mm.
envy, can be with love. It's the human
Mm.
mind, how it
Mm.
is used and molded and provided. So there's so much to learn from everyone. And that's why I like to keep an open mind towards this.
Mm. Amazing, Luke. Love it. And I'm totally with you on this perspective of being open to learning from anyone, including a child can teach you lessons,
Absolutely.
including a criminal can teach you lessons. That's very powerful. Thank you for sharing. And now you've worked with so many, I would say hundreds and thousands of, patients over the years. Is there, because in my community now we have a lot of health experts in the wellness space, and some of them are just starting off on the journey with whatever micro niche that they have actually picked, various topics. So what tips would you like to give them in terms of process? Like what process do you follow to help get the best results for your clients? Some key principles if you'd like to share. Yeah.
See, what I would like to share is why we're all, even when I started off, it was all about, okay, I'll give you my story, So
Yes.
basically, when I started off, I didn't look at competition. I didn't look to see who's around me. My only
Yeah.
job was my patient in front of me. It wasn't about like, oh, I need to do a social media post, see my patient. No, my social media was born out of my experience with my patient. One day, I was so fed up of seeing a line of patients with the most common issues. They should never have been in that line if they had the knowledge
Mm.
of how to overcome
Yeah.
acidity, of how to take care of
Mm.
constipation. They should never have been in that line sick and waiting for treatment. So my point was, let me just get onto social media and start teaching them this. While I can't teach a cancer patient on social media what to do at every stage because it's so dynamic to disease, but simple things like acidity, asthma, diabetes, these things, we have patients who have watched our videos and cured themselves, put themselves in remission without even speaking
Right.
to me or any of my doctors. So simple knowledge. So that was my first step. Can I use social media to educate people? And that's how everything was born, out of sharing a patient's experience. So I think for anyone out there, whether you're in business, whether you're in health, I think you got to be you got to have a crystal clear vision of why you're doing this. If you're doing this to
True.
get famous, I mean that's your goal. Cool. You probably need a different approach. Although I can tell you, fame will come out of you doing the right work. It's very easy
Yes.
to
Mm.
make fame, buy fame, spend on fame. It's very easy to do that, but then you don't sustain it, and it's not valuable fame. It's shallow fame. So the point is, I never intended to get famous. I don't like fame. I'm a shy person. But it was born out of giving value to a subject. Why should a nutritionist or an integrative specialist have fans? I always think about it. Why should you have fans? You're not an actor, you're not whatever. But then I figured, let me receive this because you're creating value in someone's life. So it all
Yes.
comes down to
Mm.
value. So any health coach out there, what value are you creating? It's very easy to go on social media and create value for likes and for all of that stuff, but it is short-lived. Tomorrow there is going to be someone better than you, better at reels, better at getting likes, because maybe they look younger, they look better, and all of that stuff. It's not sustainable. But if you can create value, your likes and everything else will come to you. Maybe slower than most people doing it the wrong way, but it will be solid.
Yes.
Like you can have accounts with millions of people following you, but zero engagement. All you see is hot fire and all of that stuff. And you can see accounts with a fewer followers, but engagement. You're building a community, you're creating value. So the number one is, what value do you have to offer? Number two, your textbooks are good, but you will learn most through experience. And it's taken me 8 years of experience, and that's why I'm good at what I do. It's not because of my textbook knowledge. I respect my textbook knowledge, but it is experience. And you have to have the ability of the coach. You can be great at textbook, but if you cannot integrate experience with that knowledge, you're just going to be competing with a lot of people who are, consulting and practicing out of textbooks. And your textbook is also limited. It's limited because it's only based on statistics, numbers, and theory, which is important. But when it comes to
Yes.
coaching, you're going way beyond that. So I respect anatomy and I love anatomy. Anatomy is what's made me who I am. But now, over and beyond anatomy, I need to bring in patient experiences,
True.
emotions,
Mm.
root causes, ask questions, ask more questions, say I don't know when I don't know, so I'm open to learning. So I think it's all about value and it's all about patience. Today, the world, everyone's trying to be better than the other. If you're competing for more clients, I think you're going to have a problem right from the beginning. So when I started
Yeah.
sharing all of my content, my own team and people around, look, you won't have a business if you keep doing this. You're giving it to everyone. I said, this was never my business anyway. My business was my patient in front of me. And actually, a business empire grew out of sharing information. I had lines and wait lists till date of people who want to see me, even if the information is free, even if it's free. Because you see, a lot of people operate from an area of lack. That I won't share this because this nutritionist will copy my idea, this doctor, this coach will take my idea. But you don't understand that you have to operate from a space of abundance. There is enough for everyone, for everyone. And if you operate with that, We share everything and we get more than we share back coming to us. And that's a natural flow. So even when my content team says, Luke, we're cutting this out, this is too much of information, I'll say, no, put it. And the next day we have more patients coming into us. So it's just the beauty of simple giving back with the right intention, sharing. The more you share with the right intention, the more you get. That is the fundamental.
Fantastic, Luke. It seems like we are so wired in terms of the values. Whatever you're saying is like, I say the exact same thing with the communities. Like, there's no competition. It's an abundance mindset. There could be a million people doing the exact same thing, and there's still room for you to succeed because your vibe attracts your own tribe. And of course, like you mentioned about learning through experience, your clients are the best source of of insights that you can do to improve and get results for your clients. And simplicity, I also talk about this, like you can it's like Google Maps, right? You can memorize the entire map, but the fastest thing is, the better thing to do is to help people go from point A to point B on a path of least resistance. And I mean, that's what people really want. They don't want to mug the entire maps over there. So I totally resonate with every single word that you said, Luke. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's now shift gears and go back to your school days, because now whatever you're speaking probably is coming from the value system that was set during your younger days. So what was it like during your younger days, and what were those any specific situations has inspired you to do what you're doing right now? Because you said you've been clear about what you wanted to do. Were there any trigger points in your younger days that you would like to share?
No, actually, no. My childhood was just a beautiful childhood. I played a lot, didn't study. I was a very, very poor student, very poor student. Struggled with math, struggled with chemistry and all of these things and stuff like that. But I believe when I reflect today, because my mind could not understand complication, it found a new way of thinking, simplicity. Why does everyone have to look at a problem through a lens of complication just because it's complicated? Today, we solve some of the most complex cancer cases through simplicity, just the fundamentals. So I knew my limitations. Back in school days, I would look around at my fellow students who were like studying hard, getting great marks, getting into great universities and colleges. I never felt bad. I actually never felt bad. I just felt that that's their part, but it's definitely not. So I'm not wishing that I was a smart student, because I didn't want to have to go through that burden of so much of studying and all of that stuff. I think I just flowed with life. And this is something that my dad taught me. He said, flow with life.
Beautiful.
It's while you're living life that you will find what you truly want. And I flowed till the age of 36 or 37. That's when I actually moved full time into what I'm doing today. But every experience that I went through today, in some way or the other, has led me to who I am and where I am. The good and the bad, the broken relationship, the relationships that I was not good myself, whether it was my work, my workspace, jumping jobs, staying with a job, moving out of operations because I couldn't understand numbers, moving into learning and development. So I got the experience of understanding mindsets of people. I think by flowing through that, I reached a point when I realized that, yeah, health was always my thing, that this is what I want to do. And from day one, I was good at it because I could take everything from my past and put it together. If a problem came to me complicated, my mind would try to find the simplest way because I'm not capable of thinking of complication. I'm not capable of doing it. So through a part of simplicity, I would find what I need to do. And I would explain it to the patient, and the patient would say, I never thought of it that way. And I'm like, are you really that dumb? Because I'm supposed to be the guy not knowing it. And they were like, no, because we think complicated all the time. So my entire consulting practice and business today is run out of simplicity. And so
Amazing.
A lot of people who come to me, because I have way more qualified doctors and nutritionists in my team than me. So part of my training is to actually bring them down to simplicity so that they can actually, sometimes look at a problem differently and be successful that way. So while they're great, because some of the complications that I don't understand, they take care of that. But together we make a fabulous team of integrating complication, simplicity, a lot of knowledge, PhD, as well as a little knowledge, but experience. So I think it all falls together, like nature says, right? Nature uses everything, the good, the bad.
Yes.
Nothing bad in nature. A weed may be bad to us. Oh, look at that weed. It's killing the plant. It's greedy. It's robbing nutrition from the host plant. But the weed also has its job. And, everything around works beautifully. And when you don't interfere with the process of nature, that's what intelligence is. And that's what we try to create in our practice. We try to bring people back towards their natural rhythms, but they're moving further away. And sometimes the simplest thing is just bring them back into that circadian rhythm. And the next day they're like, wow, I feel amazing. We didn't do anything. We just realigned you through a very simple fundamental.
Amazing. Look, that's so beautiful. And talking about your childhood, I have also a parallel with you. Is like when I would see the integration symbol, my brain would just switch off. I flunked my 12th. I don't have a degree even till today, and that's so true that sometimes the backbenchers are the ones who are able to simplify things for the future world possibly. So thank you for sharing that and bringing back simplicity as the focus. Simplicity is what brings in helps people move forward, get results, and awareness, making them aware of what they need to get into in terms of rhythm and lifestyle. Amazing. So now you're super busy. You're doing a lot of work. In terms of putting out stuff on social media is one side of it. Dealing with the clients that are coming in, and like you said, there's a waiting list. People are waiting in line to come to you. How do you manage your time considering that you're doing multiple projects and launches? So I just want to understand your lifestyle. How have you designed it for yourself considering you're super busy?
So time for me is everything. Time is not just money. Time is life. Okay, because the one thing I learned, because we deal with terminally ill patients and dying patients, and I think the one lesson that comes out that I try to share with everyone: your time is finite. Whether you think about it or not, remember that and remind yourself every single day. Remind yourself not so that you're pessimistic, but so that you learn to value it, where you want to give that, who you want to give it to, what you want to spend it on. More than money, time is more important to me. My money's there. You can make money, you can lose money, but you can never get back the time that you've lost or someone's wasted it for you. So my lifestyle is simple. My priority is my patient and will never change. It's beautiful that I've run my social media in such a way. I don't have a crew. I don't have a team. Everything is raw that you see. If I have an idea, I'll just go live at that particular point. I don't need a background. I don't need any of that stuff. That's the way I'd like to do it, only because I'll have to take out a lot of time away from my patients if I try to do it full time. We've had YouTube, a lot of companies come to us, Luke, let's set you up in the studio and do this. We can monetize, we can do this. The numbers sound good. But I know I have to give time, which I'm not willing to give for that, because that time is my patience. That's my core. That's my gift. If you don't use your gift, it gets taken away from you. So I'll do a video on the side. I'll do a video, whatever, in between. I'll write content on a flight. I use my time. My sleep is important. So I need 8 hours of sleep. That's what works for me. Sometimes I need 7. Sometimes I need 8.5. So my days are not 24-hour days. My days are 16-hour days. I have only 16 hours to do what I want because 8 hours is sleep. It's non-negotiable, absolutely non-negotiable. So the point is, I have 16 hours. So I have my fixed amount of patients. I have my roster. So I know exactly how many hours are going to go towards my patients. And then I've prioritized my workout time, my family time. My me time is also prioritized. Like I live in the city of Mumbai, but I consult out of different countries. For me, I honestly don't like Mumbai city. Okay, it's a nice city, but I don't like the vibes. Why? Because in Mumbai, I just feel I need to work because I have patients from all over the world coming. So for me, Mumbai is work. When I come to Goa, I'll see patients, but I can relax. In New York, I'll consult the first half of the day. The next half of the day, I'm in Central Park, relaxing, chilling. So that's how I like to make my time and manage my time. So it may seem that I have a lot of work to do, but I manage my time because I know what to value. I will not let my work get the better of me. Sometimes I have ad hoc patients and I will take them. So maybe that particular night, if I've taken 4 extra patients, I can't watch a movie. So I'm okay sacrificing the movie, but I'm not going to watch the movie as well and compromise my sleep. So again, my story doesn't have to become other people's stories, and other people's stories don't have to become mine. It's what we learn from one another. This is what is important for me. It's how I've prioritized and valued certain things in my life. So if I've kept valued, I will do it. If I've not put a value to it, I won't end up doing it. It's like most people say, Luke, motivate me to exercise. Then I'm not going to motivate you unless you make exercise valuable in your life. You're never going to do it. So like, I don't have to motivate you to love your child. I don't have to motivate you to run your business. You're doing it because it's of value to you, right? So it's all about assigning value. So my days are pretty simple. They get hectic when there's travel. When I have long trips to New York, all of that, because jet lag kicks in, and I do quite poorly under jet lag. I believe that, I'm demotivated, I'm depressed. Why have I done this? And then I just sleep, wake up, and I'm fresh again. So that's how it is. But I can't really complain because we are responsible for how we use our time. No one else. No one else. I deal with a lot of coaches as well, and they have excuses all the time that, oh no, my clients are first, whatever. But what about you? Don't make it sound like you are doing someone else a favor. If you're not looking after yourself, how are you giving your 500% to your patient? And I tell this to my team all the time. If you are sleep deprived, you cannot be on my team. You may be great, but you are not giving your 100%, because we know if you're sleep deprived, you cannot give your 100% to your job, to your patient, to anyone else. So our core values in our
Absolutely.
team are lifestyle first. You practice what you
Mm.
preach, or you cannot find a place in my team, whether you're from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, you're a PhD, it doesn't matter. Because what matters is the value we create for our patients. So every coach out there, if you're not looking after yourself, don't think you're doing a great job with your patients, because you are not. It may sound good, I'm sacrificing myself for someone else, but no, you got to nourish yourself first before you can nourish other people. And this is something which is mandatory in getting coaches to be the best that they can.
Fantastic, Luke. Thank you for sharing that. And in fact, one thing I do even in my diamond member group is I tell everyone to grow a business, you got to realign your life so that there is there is creation and recreation. So like you're in the zone and then you detach. So like a 4-day work week is what I tell people to do. So work for 2 days, take a break, then work for 2 days, take a break. So then it actually becomes into a rhythm, into a cycle that really rejuvenate. You come back to it to do much better. And yeah, I'm totally with you on that, on keeping less, valuing time, not giving time to anyone, and just focusing on the most important projects. And I'm totally with you on the aspect of not also like if you had the opportunity, you could go like full-fledged on your social media and on the backgrounds, but you just decided to prioritize your time to just doing it raw, being real, and just connecting and doing the more important work. And amazing. Thank you for bringing in those insights. Uh, Now the next question is, now you've created this whole ecosystem around integrative lifestyle and lifestyle medicine by offering your consulting along with UCare Lifestyle, which is the marketplace for people to buy ethical and safe products and services that are verified by experts. So this is what you've been doing so far. So what's next for you? Like, you've been doing this. I'm pretty sure you have a team that's like managing all of this. So what's the next vision for you? Where do you see the next 3 to 4 years?
The next vision
Yeah.
is my next patient, which is going to be right after this call. That never changes.
Okay.
I never think of
Okay.
business ideas. They come from me
Mm.
consulting with people. So I consulted with a
Mm.
patient who gave me the idea of UCare Lifestyle, saying that, Luke,
Mm.
I've been with you for 2 years, cancer patient. You give
Yeah.
me links of where to buy food. I go on to Amazon, I go on to Flipkart, and then, the algorithm throws me a discounted price. Then I come back, can I have this, Luke, instead of this, because this is cheaper, and all of that stuff.
Mm.
This patient said,
Mm.
Luke, create one marketplace where you and your team verify the best of the
Mm.
best, the most ethical, license
Mm.
wise, certification wise, and what y'all think according to your philosophy. So through that
Mm.
one
Mm.
patient review call, we built a whole
Yeah.
UCare lifestyle platform. We thought it was a fabulous idea. So now not just
Mm.
our patients, but our families, our loved ones, they know that when we go there, we can buy what we want because it's
Yeah.
verified. And there's another hidden
Yes.
agenda. So I don't
Mm.
just keep one coconut oil. I'll keep 50.
Mm.
So now if I have
Okay.
50 vendors who are verified, but one of them is
Mm.
charging $1,000, the other is charging 200, another guy is charging 500. Okay.
Mm.
People are starting to ask these vendors, y'all are all verified. What's the difference in your oil? So now the vendors are
Mm.
forced to kind of stabilize their prices as well.
Yes. Mm.
So it's
Mm.
actually correcting the market, because if it
Mm.
is great, how can you produce coconut oil different from me?
Mm.
Right? It's
Yes. True.
cold pressed coconut oil. The price
Mm.
should be the same, or should
Mm.
be. So now vendors are actually coming together with very similar prices. So it's becoming better for the consumer as well. So
Mm.
again, this came out from me following my vision, which is my next patient in front of me. Every single
Excellent.
business, whether it was my first talk or my event, it was a patient
Mm.
who said, Luke, I have this forum. Can you please come and speak? I
Yeah.
spoke at that forum, other forums started inviting me.
Mm.
So I've never had a business model. I've never had a
Mm.
business plan. I've never had a business strategy. This is
Mm.
me. Now I have my
Mm.
team below me, which is my CEO, CFO. They probably have all of the strategies, but they do that because I just believe
Got
in
it.
my vision is my patient, and
Mm.
everything that stemmed in our ecosystem today is born out of that
Mm.
vision with a particular patient. So, yep, what's next for me
Fantastic.
is my next patient.
Your next patient. That's awesome. But uh, connected to this, I'm sure you have been through a learning curve yourself. From being a solo person trying to do everything yourself in the beginning, to then creating a structure and a team so that you can expand your vision. Like you have the UCare lifestyle, the cancer care, and you have so many different verticals that you built. Just walk us through the journey of how did you actually put this into place? Because even though you say you're not into business, I'm pretty sure you have a good business acumen to know what decisions to make or what people to bring into the team. So walk us through the evolutionary journey of you going from solo to creating like an ecosystem like this? Like what are the different stages that you went through?
So when I started off, I was still working with IBM. It was almost 10, I finished 10 years in IBM at a great position and all. And I was
Okay.
consulting with patients on the side. We could do that as long as it didn't conflict with what IBM was doing. And I started
Mm.
having 5 patients, 10 patients, 15 patients, 20 patients. And I had a massive breakthrough with a terminally ill cancer patient who lived on
Mm.
for way post his time. And that kind of got me
Amazing.
famous because it was a very, very rich family, business family. And word of mouth got around. And the next day I was on a flight to Delhi. They wanted me to see one of their aunts and someone else. And that's when I realized that I can't handle IBM anymore because I'd made a plan. When
Mm.
I have 50 patients or 100 and I'm earning the same as IBM, because there's always that fear of giving up a good job and a steady pay. Kind of
Yes.
makes you lazy. And I had that fear. Like how will I pay my rent? All of those things. I was in Mumbai at that point. But then this was the turning point. I said, wow, something's changing. And that voice kept telling me, resign. This is your time. So I just resigned. Like I was not even making as much as I was making with IBM at that particular time. But I said, let me take that risk. And I think that was the best decision of my life. In 24 hours, by gracefully shutting one door, a whole new world opened up. And
Wow.
within a week, I was making more than I was making in IBM because my patient count increased. I was charging very less. I started off at about 150 rupees and then 200
Mm.
and then 500 rupees for a month. It's a consult with a month of program and then 1,000
Wow.
rupees.
Mm.
But it started moving up because I just felt at that point no one knew me. And, this was the right price point. I didn't know my value and my worth at that time. I was in the process of creating it. And then when I had about 100 clients, I was in Singapore to see a very sick patient. And that night I finished and I was just sitting by the promenade at having a coffee. And there was a girl who had reached out to me through one of my clients. She was a nutritionist. Her name was Sneha. And she said, Luke, do I have an opportunity with you? And at that point I said, wow, I've never thought about that. Let me just hire her. So I hired her from Singapore and she started assisting me. And then she started handling about 50 patients. And then we hired the next and the next and the next. And it grew. Now, at that point, I still didn't have a team in business. I would do the interviews, do all of that, decide a price on the point, transfer the money from my account to their account. It was like just done because we were so into our patients and everything growing. I was just flowing. I didn't think about budgeting, none of that stuff.
Okay.
And then I was married. My wife was pregnant, carrying our daughter Tiana, and she delivered. And then she was like, I was like, "Do you really want to start?" She was with IBM as well, a project manager.
Okay.
So, "Do you really
Mm.
want to travel, whatever?" I said, "Why don't you get into the business and stuff?" She said, "Okay, why not? Let's give it a shot." So she got into it and she started putting things together, putting things in place. And for all my hiring, I don't have business acumen. I would like to think I do, but I don't think my CFO will agree with that because I'm a very emotional person. I get excited with business ideas very soon. I say yes, and then, all businessmen, they'll only tell you the best part of the business. And I get involved in it and realize like, oh no, this isn't what they said. And so you got to be shrewd. You got to be all of that. And that's not me because I'm very naive when it comes to that. I'm learning. So that's why I said, let me hire a team who can make those decisions for me. So even though it meant eating into my profit margins, I hired people who could make decisions for me so I could continue doing what I'm good at and what built the business
Yes.
with my patients. So I have a CFO, I have a CEO, I have 5 EAs, I have a lot of people say, Luke, but your headcount's going up, your cost. I said, yes, but it's allowing me to do what I want to do.
What you really
Sometimes you
want.
got to spend money to earn
At
money.
what stage? At what stage did you hire them? In how many years into
Two
into you
years.
doing
In
this?
two
2 years.
years.
Got it.
In 2 years,
Mm.
I needed all of these kind of people. So then we started hiring
Mm.
nutritionists. The only thing I looked at, I didn't even care about their qualifications, unless, of course, they were certified to practice. That's all that
Yes.
mattered. What they said to me in that time, which showed passion, the love for patients, what they were willing to sacrifice for their patients. That's all I hired. Today we have
Nice.
a more formal way because there's an HR team and all of that. And you got to do things a
Yes.
particular way because people change.
Mm.
Everyone changes at the same
Yes.
time. So,
Yes.
we have HR, we have all of that stuff. So I identify people based on not their skill alone, but their ability to connect to a patient, the care. Like I always say
Mm.
every
Mm.
morning, we are giving care and love to our patients first. Second is everything else technical. So that's how we do. Then my team that was growing, I identified one person, moved them into the head of cancer, head of diabetes, head of whatever, so that they can grow, they can get recognized, and it's a beautiful system. We've not had a single attrition in our team from day one,
Wow.
except a girl who needed to get married, moved to a place where she could not practice
Mm.
because of a license. And, we've had to let go of some people for disciplinary issues. But other than that, because I believe our payment model is very, very different. I don't have people on a salary. Certain verticals in my
Okay.
business do, but the consulting vertical, no. If I am making money through a client, you also make it with that client. So if we earn, they earn. So if we get 100 patients, my team also earns on 100 patients, because I believe they should never have to think about money. They should never. I made a safety net for myself so I don't have to ever think and be stressed out about a lack of money, because I want to
Yeah.
be my best when I coach people. So I need to create that for my team. So my team by far is the highest paid team in our country, and probably even across other countries in the world, because they have the ability
Nice.
to earn more and more every day, depending on the patients that they take up. So it keeps them motivated, keeps them inspired, and they don't have to think about that. So we're a 100% women team. We have 2 or 3 men
Wow.
as
Wow.
well. Yeah, one is a doctor, the rest are women. And of course, we have a back-end person, and we have a differently able boy by the name of Hadrian who handles back-end stuff for us. Other than that, we're 100% women. And it's beautiful to see how in the last 3 years, a lot of them have bought their own homes. They bought their cars,
Amazing.
their kids in amazing school. So that's what makes me feel good and inspires me, because at the end of the day, it's all of us together. I'm as successful as my team. If they're
Yes.
successful,
Yes.
I'm successful. If I'm successful, they're successful, because the patients keep pouring in. So that's our model, and that's
Amazing.
how it worked. And so we have the right people in the right roles. I believe my assets are my people, period. Sometimes your assets can become a liability. I look at those liabilities once. Can I make them into an asset again? If yes, great. They have a chance. They have
Mm,
3 chances. But if they're going to stay a
mm.
liability, we have to let them go, or we have to let certain processes and procedures die a natural death as well, if it's not serving us anymore. So technically,
True.
that's how we've done it. And I hire skill where I don't have
Mm.
skill,
Yeah.
because if I want to build, like, I
Mm.
have no clue about e-commerce, absolutely
Mm.
none. And I'm not going to pretend I'm an entrepreneur just because we get, magazine discussions and photo shoots. Say, oh, Luke, you're an entrepreneur. No, I'm not an entrepreneur. I've hired people who are entrepreneurs and are building the business for me. So that's what works for me right now.
Amazing, Luke. Really a amazing journey going from quitting IBM and then building a mega structure like this of an ecosystem of really delivering an impact. How big is the team right now? Your core team, like that's
We
actually
got
doing
about
the work for
150 people, 150
Wow.
people, nutritionists,
Mm,
doctors, back-end yoga therapists, life coaches. We have psychologists, psychiatrists, we have oncologists, we have
mm.
radiologists. They all work in different places, different countries and stuff like that, but it's one team.
Yeah,
So that's how it is.
fantastic.
We keep expanding. Now we probably have, experts on mudras as well. And there's so much that we
Mm, mm,
have in our
mm,
ecosystem. We have homeopathy in a huge,
mm,
huge way. We have
mm,
Ayurveda. So some patients, they look, we want to try Ayurveda, but they want us to suggest those people. So we have Ayurvedic doctors who understand what we do, and
mm, mm,
take care of these patients as well. We have top surgeons around the world as well. So they
mm,
will be our first reference point, and they refer their patients to
mm.
us well after they've done the surgery. So it's a beautiful system.
Absolutely.
Our system
Mm,
can
mm,
can proudly say we don't work on kickbacks, we don't work on commission. So even if a doctor sends us 100 patients, we will never pay them a commission, and we will never take a commission from them if we send them patients who need a surgery or a chemotherapy. And that's why our patients
Wow.
have faith in us, and that's why we are a brand of trust and integrity to date, because we
Fantastic.
believe there are other ways to make money, and that's through the value we
Mm,
create. We don't need to. We're not a
mm.
business working on commissions. So that's how we built our model as of now.
Fantastic, Luke. Thank you for reiterating that. I think that one value principle is what has made this you into such a big brand today, where it's not just about the money. Money is not the focus; it's the result. And working on one
The
patient at
money
a time,
always
I can already see
follows.
that
The
it
money always
follows.
follows. And I
Yes.
can say this, when I was in IBM earning about 70,000 bucks, and I would watch these videos that, oh, follow your passion and the money follows, I would be like, what crap. Maybe you made your money and that's why you're saying it. But today I can tell you that if you really give value, the money has to follow. It has to follow. And the one thing is, don't be this self-righteous person unless you really are, where you say, oh, I'm doing it for the patient, I don't want to make money. Because right there you block out abundance. Why not? Why don't you want to make money? If you stay grounded, there's nothing wrong with material wealth. If you stay
Yeah.
grounded, if you become a slave to
Mm,
it, then you're better off saying that, I don't want to make money. But the point is, when you add value, the money always, always follows. And let me change the word from money to abundance. Because I honestly don't care about
yes.
money. Money's good, but abundance is a state of mind. I love the feeling that I can do what I want whenever I want, because that's abundance. A lot of people have a money. I got a couple of billionaires, super stingy guys, super. They have everything, but they're so insecure. How can you enjoy that? What's the point of your billions if you don't have a state of abundance? They can spend 10 times that amount and still have enough for the next couple of generations, but they don't have the attitude of abundance. They come from an attitude of lack, that, oh no, everyone's out to rob me. Oh no, if I spend this, what's going to happen? So you see, your attitude can shift everything. You can have little and feel abundant. You can have lots and feel poor.
Luke, this has been an amazing conversation. It just feels like you're a brother from a different mother. You know, the way that you're speaking is so connected with every single point that you mentioned. All of you here watching, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, please share in the comments below what were your top key learnings that you got from this last 40-minute segment that we had over here. Luke, I just want to thank you for your time, because you're super busy and you took away your time to give this value to us. And this is going to reach out to a lot of thousands of people. And I know that it's going to make a difference to many of these aspiring people in the health space, in the coaching space, to really, build and grow with the right value systems, which is what you've actually shared beautifully in this conversation that I had. So as you're closing this interview, I just want to ask you, where should people go? Where can people follow you? Is there any place that you would want, the followers or people watching this to go towards? Any call to action that you would like to share?
We're on YouTube, yes. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and of course, my website is lucoutinho.com. So I think we're easily reachable in many, many different ways. And I'd like to thank you for putting in your time as well to share so much of knowledge with people everywhere. When we got the invite for your podcast, you're one out of probably 50 that we get all the time. But I like the work that you were doing. I like your intention more than anything else.
Thank you.
And so I'm happy to be here today. I see it as valuable time spent, and thank you for doing everything that you do.
Thank you so much, Luke. So all of you watching, I've given the links to all these websites in the show notes. Please go and follow Luke in case you're discovering him for the first time, and you're going to follow him for the rest of your life for the amazing consistency and amazing knowledge that he shares. So Luke, once again, I'm looking forward to meeting you once in person. Probably when I hop into Mumbai, we'll connect over there. Or if you're coming to Chennai, I would love to invite you home. And it's amazing to connect with you in person, of course, virtual. And more power to you. Keep inspiring more. And you're already changing the world. May it go multifold. Yes. Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.